Hello everyone! So today's garden task is not the most glamorous task, but it's storing all of my potting soil away for winter. And honestly, that's probably one of the questions I get asked the most is, what exactly do I do with all of my soil and all of my containers? So I'm going to bring you along with me, and it's actually not that difficult what I do. So I will walk you around and show you what pots I empty out and what I don't. We will get the ones that I do emptied, and then I'll talk a little bit about what I do in spring. So any pots that I need to empty the soil out of, I dump the soil right into this bin. It's a plastic bin from Home Depot. I actually need to get another one because I have this one for the front deck, and last year I didn't have a back deck garden really, so I need to get another one for the back deck. But it's all just gonna go in here, covered up, left out in the freezing cold over winter, because that's supposed to help kill like any pests or anything that might be in the potting soil for next spring. So I get one of these. Then as far as the pots I empty out, well, let's start with what I'm not emptying out. I am not emptying out any of my giant raised beds. If I had to do that every year, I don't think I would garden, because that's just way too much work. I am not going to empty out these 3 giant grow bags right now, but they are actually going to be emptied out next year because, well, at least 2 of them have holes in the lining. So these have lasted me 5 years, which I think is pretty good for them staying outside all winter. But I'm just going to leave them as they are over winter. I'm also leaving the zinnias because even though they are falling over, so I think you saw me when I emptied out this, I removed the tomato plants. Apparently the tomato plants is what was keeping these upright, but I'm going to leave them just in case any wildlife wants to use them over the winter. Other things I don't empty out, obviously my potted perennials. I also don't empty out any of my grow bags because I'm going to use these pots, well, grow bags, over winter for insulation around the perennials that I do leave out on the deck. So these will be staying, and then any plastic pots like this will also be staying. So plastic pots stay outside with soil in them. That one's small enough where I might empty it out, we'll see. I think that's probably just one big root ball at this point. And then this plastic pot. These gray pots will have bulbs, so those will be outside or stored away during winter but not emptied. And then anything I do empty out are containers that have to be stored inside somewhere because they will likely be cracked or damaged during the winter, which includes all my terracotta. These are from my herb garden, so those are empty, they just need to be cleaned. All of these for here I need to empty out. I think I'm gonna leave, again, that plastic flower box out, so that won't need to be emptied. This ceramic pot here also needs to be emptied. I have grown blueberries in it over winter the last 3 years, and it didn't crack, but I think I'm ready to clean this out and keep it as an indoor pot only, so I'll grow some house plants in it. So that means this one needs to be emptied and cleaned. Now the pot I'm going back and forth on is my aqua pot. So I know from the instructions that the insert you're supposed to take out and clean and store inside over winter. So the insert is out. I can't find the information on the pot itself, but it is, like, it's not ceramic. I think the regular aqua pots are, but this is definitely not because it's more lightweight. It's some sort of hybrid composite, so I'm not sure. I think I saw someone empty it out and tip it over just so water doesn't get in, but this is a large amount of soil. I also don't have room to store these inside, so I might, when it gets to that point, just tarp the 2 that I have in the corner. And there are some pots that are still full of plants that I will empty out. Now, the lantana in here, which still looks beautiful, is in one of the aqua pots that I have to get the insert out of. And then I also still have my salvia, which the pollinators love. These will 100% be emptied out. This one might just be a root ball by the time I pull it. There probably will be soil in that ceramic pot. So that's really the breakdown of what I do and don't empty out. So anything that needs to be stored inside, I dump the potting soil into the plastic bin. Anything that can stay outside over winter, I use as insulation against my potted perennials. So now it is time to start dumping out the soil into my storage bin. So I'll probably dump everything out. I'll see how much space I have to help me determine the aqua pot, but I do think I am leaning towards just tarping it so that water doesn't get in. But we'll see. All right, I'm going to start with the ceramic pot over here. So let's move the aqua pot out of the way. And we'll roll you over because I put you on wheels this year, which makes it a lot easier to move. And I'm just going to dump. Okay, I'm not just going to dump because it is too heavy for me to pick up with the soil in it. So let's grab a terracotta pot. There was a part of me at some point that was like, do I need a giant shovel instead of just my trowel? But then I realized that pots work in a very similar way to shovels. So I'm just gonna scoop and dump. Now I should say too that if there's a pot that had a plant in it that I think had any sort of virus or fungal issue, that I will throw the soil away. So one of my pots that I think had oregano in it, that anything I planted in it just kept dying, that soil I just tossed. Luckily that hasn't happened in a raised bed yet. I don't really know what I'll do if that does. So do make sure that if you think there might be any soil that's contaminated with anything, I would err on the side of caution and choose to dispose of it instead of saving it. Let's see if I'm at a point where I can lift yet. Oh, yeah, okay, we're good. There are some roots at the bottom here, so I'm just going to kind of hack at them because I don't think it's like, yeah, it's definitely not enough for me to just throw the root ball away. Like, they're not that intertwined together, but I'm just gonna do that. Okay, well, that is one pot down. I'm gonna head to right over there on my flower cart and empty out those. I'm wondering, should I put this on this wheelbase or will it break it if it gets too heavy? Let's see. Good idea, but the wheelbase isn't large enough for this, so it'll probably tip over. I'm just going to empty out anything here that still has soil in it. I'm not going to clean today, even though I should, but I don't feel like it. So empty you out. Also, going back to if I notice a pot that has an issue, I will empty it out like then, because if I pull the plant, I might forget which pot it was in if I don't empty it out right at the same time. Next. Pretty good luck so far. Sometimes they are hard to empty. Again, if there is, let's use this one this time, a large root ball. I think this is the last one for back here. Well, until I empty out the other ones in there. Since this morning glory pot isn't really large enough to insulate, I think I'm going to dump this one in there too. Take out the little root ball. Sit you here for now. I'm surprised the root ball's that small for the morning glory. And there we go. Okay, so let's give you what everyone wants and a close-up of a box of dirt. This is where we're currently at, so it's still a little bit less than half full. Now, once this does get full, I can still move it. I did last year. I can't like easily pick it up, but I can move it around the deck. So what I still know I have to empty out are, again, all of those 3 salvias. And I don't know if it's the wrong decision. I'm just going to tarp you. Well, I'm going back and forth because if I'm going to use these as an aquapot again next year, I do have to get the insert back in. So I would have to dig up the soil and then put it back in. But I don't know if I'm going to use them with the aquapot insert because I was toying around with maybe putting the apple trees. But since I don't know, and I can always do it in the spring if I want to, empty it out then, I think I am just going to leave that one and tarp it. And then I have something that's pretty large for insulation as well. So I'm just going to do a little bit of reorganizing right now and try to get everything that I need to clean, well, all the pots that I need to clean over here. Oh, I almost missed you. I think that was part of the morning glory. Let's dump you out as well. There we go. Okay, now I'm going to gather all the pots that I need to clean in one section to make it easier when I actually go through and do that. What? Oh, something interesting now to show you. So this was one of the eco pots. Now, I think I have it in a reel on my Instagram, but I actually had one that was almost completely broken down in a larger pot. This is the first one I found in a smaller pot, and it honestly doesn't look like it's broken down that much, if at all, but it still grew just fine. So what I'm going to do, because again, it is made from material you can compost, is just break it up into tiny pieces, and we'll see how that does come spring. All right, now organizing. You here. I'll put my other glove on just in case. I don't need to wash a broom. You over there. Plastic will go on there for now because I won't. Well, if I bring it inside, but I probably won't bring it inside. I do try to keep whatever I can outside just so I don't clutter up the space. Again, we do have a garage, but I don't want to carry a bunch of stuff down and up. So I mostly just use that for overwintering plants. And I don't want to bring a bunch of stuff in the house and make it really cluttered. So anything I can leave outside, I try to. Let's empty out these hanging baskets too. I at least need to clean off the plastic inserts in there. Let's wheel you back over. Now I actually think when I plant a house, oh, this one needs a good scrub. When I plant a house plant in here, I think I might keep the wheels on it and move those inside too, just so it's easier to move around my house, because moving it around the house versus a deck is basically the same thing. And we'll put you over here. So that's everything I'm going to clean. That is the soil that I'm still going to add to. And I think we're in a good spot for now. So once everything is completely cleaned out and we kind of get to the end of the season where the plants drop their leaves that are staying outside that I'm going to shove in that corner over there, that's where this is going to eventually go, again, to act as insulation. So it's probably just going to be like maneuvered around the deck for now, kind of getting out of the way of whatever I happen to be doing that day. There's not like, I don't know, I still do have a good amount of stuff to do, but not a ton. I'm not going to wash these today, like I said, but I'll take you with me while I do that. So, is that everything? I think that's going to be everything. I am going to cover this up just so it doesn't get wet, because again, that's going to make it even heavier to move around. And I can't think of anything else that I have to do today. I wish I had the second bin so I could go out and empty the back. Although, is there a lot to empty out back there? Should probably go take a look. So I think that's going to be everything. But yeah, that's all I do with my soil. So again, anything that was not diseased, that's in a container that has to come inside, I will pour in here. Anything that's staying outside, I leave the soil in. That is going to help insulate my perennials. In the springtime, I might empty out some of the pots that I left outside if they're small enough, or typically what I do is I will just amend the soil in the larger containers with compost, earthworm castings, and perlite. And that's what I'll do with this in the spring too. So once spring comes around and I'm ready to start planting, I will just add to this, and that's what I will then put into the empty pots to plant. So yeah, that's all I do. Really simple. I've been doing this for at least 2 winters now. This will be the 3rd, but super simple, really nothing else to it. If there is anything else that you do, let me know with your soil over winter. I just can't imagine, and people still do ask me pretty often if I empty everything out. I don't know how that would work. So as long as there's a way for me to keep reusing the soil up here, especially in my raised beds, and just adding and amending to it in the spring, which again has worked now since the soil's been in my raised bed since 2020, that's what I'm going to keep doing. So like I said, let me know if you do anything differently or if you have any questions down below, and I will see you in the next video, which hopefully will be a pot cleaning, or maybe a garden tour is coming up first. But I need to get these pots cleaned before winter gets here.